Hello everyone, welcome back to System Design from Scratch series. So in the previous lecture, we learned about load balancers, which help us distribute traffic across multiple servers and enable horizontal scale. But even after adding multiple servers, system often face another major problem. And the problem is when the database becomes the bottleneck. So we'll see how we can remove that bottleneck by using the concept of caching. So let's start understanding first the database bottleneck. What is the problem actually? For example, user sends request to the application and the application queries the database. Then the database returns the result. This is a general flow. This works fine initially. But as traffic grows, something happens. The database start receiving too many requests. Now think about this carefully. Many of these requests are actually repeating the same query. For example, when you fetch user profile, when you fetch product detail, or when you fetch homepage data. So these values don't change every second. So here what we are doing is we are hitting the database again and again. And this leads to high load on database, increased latency and slow response time. Eventually the database becomes the bottleneck of this system here. So now for that we'll have to use the caching concept. Now, caching means storing frequently accessed data in a. Now, caching means storing frequently accessed data in a faster storage layer. So, we do not need to repeatedly fetch it from the database. So, now instead of user hitting to the application and application hitting to the database, we'll introduce a caching layer between. So, the app will hit the cache, and if the data is available in the cache, it will return it from here. Otherwise, it will hit the database. So now instead of user directly hitting the app and then app directly hitting the database, we introduce a caching layer so that our app first hit the cache, and if data is available there, it directly return that data. If not, it will hit the database and then it will take out the data from database, first store it inside the cache and return it. So for the next time the same request can be fulfilled from the data in the cache. Now, there are two important concepts, cache hit and cache miss. So, what is cache hit? A cache hit happens when the requested data is already present in the cache. So, the flow is request came and it goes to cache and then it returns the response. This is very fast because cache is usually in memory. So, latency is extremely low. But what is cache miss? A cache miss happens when the data is not present in the cache. So the request came, it hit the cache. Now the cache it didn't found the data there. Then it hit the database, and then again it moves to cache, and then it returns the response. This is slower because we have to query the database. But after this, the data is stored in cache, so future request will be fast. So these two cache hit and cache miss will continuously occur on your system, but majorly your performance depend on heavily how many request is cache hit request and how many is the cache miss request. If your system is having more number of cache hit, then your system will be faster because most of the requests are same and the data will be served from the cache directly. But if the requests are cache miss, that means we will have to query the database every time. So in that case, it will be slow. Now, why cache is so fast? Because cache system like Redis store data in RAM instead of disk. And any data that we access from RAM is usually faster. Okay. So that is one of the reason. Also, cache avoid complex DB queries. It reduce network overhead. It reduce database load. So that's why it lowers the latency, it higher throughput, and the scalability increase in that case. Now let's understand the caching pattern. This is basically define how your data moves between cache and database layer. So there are three types of caching pattern. First one is cache aside, which is also called as lazy loading. So, and this is the most commonly used pattern. So in this case, the request first check in the cache. If missed, then it fetch from DB, store it in cache, and return response. This is called lazy loading because data is loaded into cache only when needed. So the advantage is it is simple, it is flexible, and it works well with most of the system. Now, second is write through. Now, in this case, whenever we are saving anything in the database, it is first saved to the cache. So that's why it's called write through. So whenever any write request came in, it first write in the cache and then it write in the database. Okay. So the advantage is cache is always consistent and it has all the data which is already present in the database. Now the third pattern is write back. And the flow would be when any write request came in, then it first write to the cache and to the database later. Here data is written only to cache initially. Okay. So the name is itself saying write back. The data is written only in the cache initially, database updated asynchronously later. So the advantage is it fast write, but it has some risk. Like if cache crashes before your DB updates, then data can be lost. Now, let's understand cache invalidation. This is one of the major problems that we face when we work with caching. So, what is the problem here? The problem is many times we update the data in the database, but the cache still contains the old data. And when the same request came in, it returns data from cache, but it is the old data which is not updated with the database. Okay, and we do not want this because it will be a data inconsistency problem. Okay, so for that, we will have to invalidate the cache. So make sure we invalidate the cache when our database is updated. Okay, and we have some solution in place. Like the simplest solution for cache invalidation is TTL. We say it time to live. Each cache entry has an expiry time. Okay, so after that time, it automatically removes. For example, cache a user profile for 5 minutes only. After 5 minutes, it expires. So the advantage is it is simple, it is easy to implement, but the data still be still within the TTL period we define. So we'll have to keep up in mind. So we'll have to keep the TTL period in mind that what time period we want to set according to our need. So that is all about the caching. These are some key takeaways. Now I'll see you in the next video with a different topic. Thanks for watching.